Mic check. Mic check. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. People power. People power. People love. I'm sure everybody knows why we're here. This is part of the coordinated West Coast Port Action. Occupy Vancouver today is organizing a rally and march in solidarity with workers, unions across Canada, across the West Coast, across the globe. We're here in support of workers facing back-to-work legislation, who are under union busting, who aren't even allowed to unionize. Their rights are being eroded, their wages, their incomes, their benefits. We're under an assault by the 1%, the global capitalist elite, and we're here standing in solidarity and fighting back. We're also here to call attention to all of the environmental concerns around these ports, around the Kinder Morgan port in Burnaby, shipping tar sands crude through the Burrard Inlet. They want to expand that. Down in Delta, they're talking about port expansion and other nasty things. So we've got some speakers to talk about these issues. We're going to begin with Maya from Food Up Bombs, who's going to do an update about the action that took place this morning at 6:30 a.m.
Hi everybody. So this morning, a group of us rallied together at 6:30 in the morning to take an assertive stance in solidarity with the workers of the IWLU and the unions. So we went down to Clark Drive as well as Heatley to block the two traffic port entrances into the ports. We did this to stand in solidarity with the unions because they're not able to negotiate. They're facing a lot of union busting. They're not able to get to talk about bargaining contracts. And we really wanted to send the message that as people, we can stand together to create change. A lot of people are afraid to come forward and stand for what they believe in. So as occupiers, as radicals, as activists, we really want to send the message out that we can unify. You know, there's unity going throughout the entire West Coast right now of people that want to stand up for workers' rights, stand up against environmental destruction, and really create a voice for change. So, this morning we did that. We blocked the port entrances for about an hour each, and we had a tremendous amount of support from the unionized workers. Yeah. It's been reported from, sorry, I've got this written on my hand here, but from the BC Marine Employers Association, which does all the shift call-outs for the unionized workers, that this morning there's 269 shifts available, only 6 were filled. Yeah. Now, while we were physically blocking cars from going onto the port, we were not blocking pedestrians. People chose to not go to work today because they understand that these issues are very, very important and that we need to stand in solidarity to fight against the corporatization of our ports. Yeah. So, we're going to keep on doing this, and I thank you all so very much for coming down today and showing support and sharing your voices.
I've been lucky enough to go down and talk with some of the locked out Teamsters at the Rocky Mountaineer, and they sent me a little bit of an update on what's going on with their situation, and we're holding this action today in solidarity with them as locked out unionized workers. So the onboard attendants at the Rocky Mountaineer have been locked out and replaced by scabs since June 22nd of this year. So the company was secretly hiring and training scabs while they were still in so-called bargaining with the union. So they're bargaining in bad faith. Because this company operates in 2 provinces, they're regulated under a federal loophole that makes it not actually illegal for them to use scab workers, even though it's illegal in BC. So that's a legal loophole that they're using to get around any anti-scab legislation that might be stopping them from stealing the jobs from these long-time workers and giving them to replacement workers. So some of the union busting tactics that they asked me to draw attention to, that the company has hired security to film and surveil people on the picket line, that they have exaggerated and invented behavior on the picket line and using that as justification to fine and even fire people who are already locked out of their jobs. Shame! Shame! Shame!
Criminal!
They're using bogus injunctions, trumping up imaginary injunctions to try and get that through the courts, knowing that they're not going to win it, but using it to bleed the union dry in legal fees so that the union is struggling to pay strike pay to their locked out employees. Company spokespeople are spreading lies about the status of bargaining, not telling guests about the situation, so people are getting on this train not knowing that they're being served by scabs, and the company is pitting other staff against those that are locked out. So I have a statement that I'd like to read that came from them. It's important to understand that these union-busting tactics are increasing everywhere. Our experience has been a rude awakening to the realities of the so-called downward pressure being exerted on workers everywhere around the world. And that's a big part of what we're doing here today, is to look at how our ports are complicit in the global rush to the bottom in labor standards, in the dignity of communities, and in the integrity of the ecology that we all rely on. That's right. The Rocky Mountaineer workers have watched members of countless other unions cross our legal picket line to take trips, to go to work, or to attend parties. Rebuilding solidarity within the citizenship is a sane and noble goal. Respect for picket lines would go a long way toward resolving our and other labor disputes. Thank you to Occupy for taking action, to initiate action, conversation, and awareness. Thank you and good luck. Yeah! I'd like you all to join me in a chant. This is for all the locked out unionized workers being replaced by scabs. This is for all the workers who are not able to unionize, all the unionized workers who are not able to bargain within their unions. Union busting is disgusting. 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 Occupy everywhere. Occupy everywhere.
Thank you, Rin. Next up, we have Kimball, editor of The People's Voice, to say a few words.
Well, thanks very much for inviting me to say a few words here on behalf of People's Voice. I want to start off by thanking everyone for coming out to this beautiful piece of unceded Indigenous territories where we're fighting for a better world, fighting for a world for our children. You know, it's been said that one of the laws of capitalism is that every generation is forced to fight for their rights all over again. Nothing that we win stays forever. We can never take these things for granted. 76 years ago, for example, that longshore workers in this town marched down Heatley Street. At the foot of Heatley Street, they were met by battalions of cops, beat the crap out of them, tear gassed them, chased them all over the neighborhood. They're forced to find refuge in places like the Ukrainian Hall, the Russian Hall, some other places that are gone now. They didn't win that fight. They didn't win the right to organize in a union on the docks in 1935. But they did keep at it. They did win. It took them several years longer, but they were able to create a situation where they could go to work with some dignity, earn a decent living, get a home for their families, and build a decent life here. All of that is under attack these days.
That's right.
The right to eat, the right to a place to live, the right to a job. None of that can ever be taken for granted because the bosses want to take it all away from us.
That's right.
That's why we need movements like Occupy to make sure that these struggles are renewed again today. Inclusive struggles that bring together everybody. Those of us who are colonists or indigenous people, those of us who come from every country, gay and straight, all of us need to be united in the fight for our basic human rights.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
thanks to all of you who led that very courageous struggle at the Art Gallery for 37 days to take back that little piece of land, and that's a portent of what's going to come in this country. Someday we're going to take the whole country back from those bosses.
Yeah! Thank you, Kimball. Next up, we have Sema to do an update on the state of the Port of Delta. Thank you.
This morning we had about 10 people
show up on the overpass of Highway 10 in Ladner with this amazing banner right here. There was so much local support for us being there. People were honking, and I mean, heck, even the truck drivers were. The amount of traffic coming through this small little town from the port expansion has been really, really evident over the last couple of years. We've watched, you know, thousands of trucks idling every day in this farmland. So I put a little sort of update here. Over the past few years, Delta Port expansion has used billions of dollars spent on new constructions of railway tracks, and the development of the South Fraser Perimeter Road has converted hundreds of acres of farmland into concrete and taken away land that farmers have settled over 100 years ago. Sensitive Delta farmland is being taken away for commercial reasons, not to mention the proposed free trade zone that will further worker exploitation. Shame, I know. And it'll pave the way for even more growth in this sensitive environmental area. We need to stand up to the industrialization of our Delta. We need to stand up to the destroyers of our farmland and stand up for the future of our children.
That's right.
So we've heard many issues. There's lots more. This is the tip of the iceberg. We do have Maya that's going to do some updates on upcoming actions you can expect from Occupy and you know, the concerned citizens of the city. And then we're going to begin our march down to the port entrance here. So Maya?
Okay, so none of these are scheduled actions yet, but keep your ears open. We're going to be doing some actions against the Kinder Morgan pipeline, the Enbridge pipeline. We're going to be standing in solidarity against the Pacific Trails pipeline. These are all things that are coming through our communities that are wreaking havoc on communities around British Columbia, Alberta, and they're coming right into our ports, and they're being shipped off overseas. You know, we want to talk about climate change. We want people to be on board with stopping climate change. But we're still shipping off all these ridiculously harmful things out of our ports. So this needs to come to a stop. So we're going to be taking a lot of action against that and really standing in solidarity with the First Nations communities that are taking action and saying no tar sands, no pipelines, no tankers in our province. Right, again, so we're also going to be doing a lot of action around social housing, around the fact that Vancouver is not building homes for people. A shelter is not a home, and we need to really tackle this. So that's coming up as well. What else are we doing?
On the 15th, we're planning an action related to salmon, to preserve our free wild salmon in British Columbia, who are under attack from all of these projects, from dams, from development, from highways. So expect a free wild salmon event on the 15th that's going to carry over for a couple of days, and that's coming up real soon. And it's against open net fish farms in BC, which are polluting our waters and our bodies.
On December 26th, there will be an action, multifaceted action, against animal torture, against colonialization, against corporate greed, and against consumer culture. So we'll be doing an action in the downtown core just to speak to people as they rush around on their busy shopping day that there are serious issues at hand that we need to address. So expect that as well. That'll be a rally in March. And plenty to come in the new year. Occupy 2012.
Workers' rights under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back! Workers' rights under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
First Nations land under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
First Nations land under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
People of the world under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
People of the world under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
All right, let's get ready to mobilize. We bring in the library?